Hey folks, if y'all checked out that movie on the DMT workshop that I left a link to and you thought it was kind of difficult, that's because that was the method for city folk. And there's a lot easier way to do it for country folk. And y'all stick with me here and you get some good health information. So these ancient people, they were highly intelligent, a lot more than you give them credit for. And they knew the body was a distillery. And they knew if they could clean it up, they could use it. So I'm going to tell you about the way the old shamans did it, and then I'm going to tell you a method that's a little bit more palatable. So whether you're interested in this or not, you need to stick around and get these health benefits that everybody needs to know. So this old litmus paper's been around a lot longer than what they're saying. And I did a movie on Romulus and Remus about a year ago, and it looks like they had rewritten the book since then and made it a little bit older. But they said it was named after, I think, a German lettuce that invented it. And now they're disputing that and say it was a Spanish man, so they dropped the date back a little bit and changed the writing. So before they were saying that this lettuce was the horn that he played, but the horn looked more like a crack pipe, looked more like something he would smoke out of, and he had this lettuce in the other hand, and this was the litmus. And when it says this augur would come interpret the will of the gods by studying a flight of birds, because he wasn't coming off and telling. He was looking at what the lichens growing on the trees and the rocks, and he could tell the soil content by looking at the lichens growing around, knowing if it was good to grow what they were wanting to grow at the Vatican, which was medicinal plants. So the old timers remember the red devil lie, and my well man told me he can't find it anymore. All the meth cooks bought it up and they just about got it outlawed. But before that, we used to make our own lye, and it's real easy. You burn down hardwood, oak, pour water through the ashes, and when you evaporate that water off, it's going to leave you a pure white lye. So if you're eating right, like you should, you get to alkalinity up in your second waters. Would it be real close enough to the point to break down what you need to do, and then you can make up a little extra lye and mix it in some water real strong, and you just drip that through, and your mix is going to be red. You just drip that through real slowly, and when the chemical reaction takes place, it's going to turn from that red to black instantly. And it takes that, you don't want it. What you're doing is you're changing the frequency. Everything on earth is all made of the same thing. It's the frequency inside of it that makes the difference. And you don't want to get the wrong frequency, because you're going to extract something that you don't want. But you get it just to the right point, real gently, and you're going to break out just the energies out of there that you want. So just like cooking up a gumbo, you don't get in a hurry. You mix this up in a big stainless pot, put it where the sun can shine on it through the window, stir it up for a week, and then holler at your grandpa and see if he got some naphtha, if he can distill you some up. And they've been doing this for thousands of years. As long as they've been writing about naphtha. It's not something new, and you distill it up. It's a little more difficult than making whiskey, but it's just another distillation. They might have been distilling it out of crude oil, or they might have been distilling it out of hemp seeds and whatever they had. Nowadays, you get it at every Kmart, Walmart, Lowe's. It's not difficult to find. So you dump that mix off in a flower vase and about a 10% cut of naphtha. Put it out in the sun, cover it, and box it up. Have a couple vases and just go box it up ever so often. And at the end of the night, in the evening, you just draw that naphtha off and and evaporate it off in your freezer. So by the time this process is done, there's none of your urine in the finished product. But if you can't stand the thought of that, you can still buy lye. You can buy a hospital grade or a food grade. You have to buy it by the case online. But the law is going to be watching you because that's what all the meth cooks were using. So my intentions here weren't to teach you exactly how to do it. If you want to know, you can learn from what you'll find online, and this would help. But I just want to let y'all know that it's very possible, and they've been doing it a long time. But the most important part of this message is try to eat the foods that are on the top of this chart. And anytime you feel like you need something in you, look at the chart and work your way down till you see something that you can deal with. Uh, Before taking your medication, you start eating them foods on the top of the chart, and you might be able to get rid of all their medications and just feel a lot better, be a lot healthier. The body's made to be alkaline. It's not made to be acid. It cures cancer and probably everything else. So these ancient alchemists, they were getting their body healthy, and they were saving their first waters and distilling that to extract the nitrogen and phosphorus for their experiments. Uh, and then they were saving their second waters for breaking down their drugs, whatever else. These alchemists were thinkers. They weren't wasteful. They were using everything. The shaman would take turns eating the mushrooms, so only one of them would throw up, and the rest of them would get their juice from his piss. It's not unheard of. It still happens today around the world. You don't hear about it in America. They frown on it much here, but there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing we know today that they didn't know thousands of years ago. All right, good day, people. God is love.